who's messy and wants more Lifetime? Well, this Lifetime drama was a wild one. In her therapy session, Lila says she misses the lifestyle her previous boyfriend, Paul, provided her because he was rich, but she feels terrible for being shallow. Afterwards, Lila decides she wants to work for her friend, Robin. When they discuss it, her ex Paul shows up and is looking for Lila. Lila exits from the back, and Paul is persistent in finding her, so he asks Robin.
Go to hell.
The skinny white-bottomed twink huffs that he doesn't get his way. On Lila's first day at Robin's office, she meets Mark, the VP of sales, who shows her around. Once they get to talking, Mark says workload has been tough and is glad Lila is working for the company now.
Especially if it lightens my load.
I'm sure the load he's referring to is something nasty. After work, Lila is shocked to find Paul waiting for her by her car, demanding to talk. When he grabs her arm, Mark appears and defends her and forces the power bottom to leave. Mark and Lila go out for a drink, where Lila shares that she was in a one-year relationship with Paul. Mark shares that he is recently divorced from his wife of 10 years, but refuses to talk about what happened. Immediately, Mark decides to lighten his load with Lila. The morning after, Lila blames the alcohol, so Mark makes her coffee.
Wasn't sure how you took your coffee.
She takes it white, obviously. In that very moment, Mark asks to be in a relationship, and she stupidly agrees. Even her therapist clocks her for jumping into another white rooster too quickly. When Robin notices the way Mark and Lila interact with each other, she tells Lila that she won't hinder an office romance, but warns her to be careful because he was married for a very long time, so things can get complicated. Lila assures her that she has nothing to worry about because she's not interested in him, but Robin knows Mark is Lila's type to a T, rich, white, and old. Later, Robin overhears Lila telling Mark that she told Robin that she's not interested in him. When she shares what Robin said, he starts feeling agitated. She tells him it's normal for Robin to ask because they're friends and assures him that she won't say anything until he's ready. When Lila arrives at Mark's house, she sees his ex-wife, Julia, leaving. Mark explains that they just have legal things to discuss. The next day, Julia approaches Lila at the cafe she goes to before work and assures her that she and Mark are over. Before leaving, Julia tells Lila that Mark is a great guy and she'll look back on their marriage fondly, but they're better off broken up. Meanwhile, Paul breaks into Mark's place looking for Lila, but Mark hits him from behind with a bat. At work, Lila shares with Robin that she saw Julia leaving Mark's house because they needed to discuss legal matters, which Robin thinks makes sense. When Lila shares about Julia talking to her at the cafe, Robin agrees that it's weird and encourages her to ask Mark about it. When Lila asks Mark about it, Mark says Julia insisted on talking to her because it's important to her that she knows it's over between them. He also shares that Julia didn't get the house because she doesn't want it and preferred to get the assets and money instead. He asks her to move in, saying the house is too big for only one person, and they're together most of the time. Although hesitant because it's a huge step in their relationship, Lila agrees. Meanwhile, Julia is secretly watching them. On move-in day, Mark's neighbor, Debbie, introduces herself to Lila and tells her to stop by her house if she needs anything. Seeing this interaction, Mark warns Lila about being too friendly with Debbie because she's too nosy. Shortly after, Lila asks about a locked room, which Mark calls the junk room, the room where they put stuff they don't know what to do with. A few weeks later, Lila is experiencing major nausea. As Mark tries to kiss her, she almost gags. Honestly, girl, same. When she goes to work, she feels sick yet again. Robin suggests taking a pregnancy test. After 3 tests come out positive, Lila tells her therapist, Dr. Adams, that she doesn't know how she feels about it. To Lila's surprise, Mark lights up upon hearing the news. He says he thinks it's meant to be and assures her that he'll be right by her side. Lila wakes up in the middle of the night and hears Mark whispering on the phone. He says he's overjoyed about Lila's pregnancy because it's what he has always wanted, and promises to share their plans after he convinces her. When he notices that Lila is awake, he quickly ends the call. When she asks who he was talking to, he says he can't sleep, so he talked to a college friend who usually stays up late. She tells him that she told her therapist about the baby, prompting a shocked reaction from him. I already know the twist. If y'all figured it out already, leave it in the comments below. Mark gives Lila a pregnancy book, and she reads it as she makes her way to her car to go to the office. When Debbie greets her and sees the book, she immediately assumes that Lila's pregnant and says that Mark must be so happy because Julia and Tamara weren't able to conceive. When Lila asks who Tamara is, Debbie apologizes for saying too much. Lila rants to Robin about Mark not telling her about Tamara. Despite feeling upset about not knowing about the pregnancy, Robin thinks it's normal not to tell current partners about unwed exes. Meanwhile, Debbie sees Julia arriving at Mark's. She is then shocked to see Mark and Julia happy and passionately kissing. Later, Debbie sees Lila arriving at Mark's and Mark greeting her lovingly as if nothing happened. "I'm gonna need Debbie to be messy and spill the beans." Mark is shocked when Lila asks about Tamara, saying Debbie mentioned her. When he says she's his ex-girlfriend and he didn't think he should give her a rundown on everybody he has dated, she says he should have told her about Tamara because she's recent. He shares that Tamara was after Julia and advises her not to talk to Debbie anymore. The next day, Debbie leaves a note on Lila's windshield, which Mark finds first. In the note, Debbie wrote Tamara's number, asking her to call her, so Mark hides it in his pocket. After her gynecologist appointment, Lila goes to the office and asks Robin to be her baby's godmother, and Robin accepts. Shortly after, Lila talks to Mark, who doesn't realize that Debbie's note has fallen out of his pocket. When she tells him about Robin being a godmother, he gets upset because she didn't ask for his permission, saying they should decide together. After Mark leaves, Lila finds Debbie's note on the floor. Lila deduces that Debbie is probably trying to warn her about something, so she texts Tamara that she's Mark's girlfriend and someone wants her to reach out to her. Tamara then responds with a meetup place and time. Meanwhile, Mark catches Debbie at his porch, looking into his windows. She explains that she just wants to check on Lila because she knows she's pregnant. He invites her in, saying her mail got delivered to him by mistake. She's hesitant and scared, but because she's white, she enters his house, giving him a chance to knock her out with a bat. Lila arrives home and asks if Julia or anyone else was in their bedroom because she can smell a woman's dookie permeating from the master bathroom. Mark says he doesn't smell anything and nobody else was there. The next day, the stroller Mark ordered arrives, and Lila brings up that he broke his own rule because he didn't tell her about the stroller. When she doesn't specify what appointment she has that day, Mark secretly follows her. As soon as Lila meets Tamara, Tamara looks at her stomach and asks if she's pregnant, saying it's exactly what Mark wants from her. Tamara shares that she and Mark met online, and they immediately hit it off, went serious, and moved in together in a very short time. When she told him that she didn't want kids because she didn't have a happy childhood, he screamed at her for wasting his time, which shocked and confused her because they hadn't discussed marriage and children at that point. He stopped listening to her and became uninterested in sex. Man's got a breeding kink for black women. When Lila asks Tamara if she knows Debbie, Tamara says Debbie is a nice lady and she talked to her whenever she saw her. Before leaving, Tamara says there's something off about Mark. Mark follows Tamara home, trespasses into her house, and asks her what she and Lila talked about. She orders him to leave, but he attacks her. Lila goes to the office and informs Robin about what she just discovered, fearing that she's in danger, and she believes Mark only wants her baby, but not her. When Lila receives a text from Mark saying he's on his way to the office, Robin instructs her to pack her stuff and stay with her. When Mark arrives, he asks Robin if she has seen Lila because she's not responding to his texts and he can't find her anywhere, to which she responds that maybe she's in a meeting. He asks her if Lila has told her anything because she seems to be acting strange, prompting Robin to say that pregnancy can cause so many changes and he would be the first person Lila would talk to if there's something wrong. As soon as Mark steps out her office, Robin stupidly calls Lila and puts it on speaker, like literally he could hear her yapping in the hallway. Lila goes home to pack, but she finds the locked junk room open, so she goes in and discovers that it's a nursery. When Julia arrives and enters the nursery, a confused Lila firmly asks her to leave, but Julia just laughs at her, mocking her for thinking it's her house. Mark arrives and Julia tells him that she's there because she needs her birth certificate. When she calls him out for not telling her about the pregnancy, he tells her that it's none of her business. After kicking Julia out, Mark calls Detective Fullerton, who says that they can't arrest Julia for breaking and entering because she has a key. Mark assures Lila that he'll change the locks and file a restraining order. Lila brings up Tamara, So Mark confirms that he left her when he found out that she didn't want a child because he was honest with her from the beginning about wanting a child. He adds that it's also one of the reasons why he and Julia broke up. He says he set up the nursery as a surprise for her and expresses his plans of marrying her. After hearing Mark's side, Lila calls Robin and tells her that she thinks she was wrong, although she refuses to blame it on her hormones. When she asks for advice, Robin tells her to trust her instincts. But her instincts obviously suck because she got into a relationship with him right away. Lila goes to the police station and asks Detective Wright if they need more information following her boyfriend filing a restraining order against his ex-wife earlier. Wright says restraining orders are filed at the county courthouse, not at their station, because they need to be reviewed and signed by a judge. When she asks to speak with Detective Fullerton, Wright says they don't have a Fullerton in their department. Lila decides to go to the county building to see Mark's divorce records, only to discover that there is no record of Mark and Julia Berg getting divorced in that county. The receptionist tells her that courthouses are running behind in processing divorce records and advises her to return next month. Lila decides to visit Debbie, thinking that she might be able to make things clearer for her. But to her horror, she finds Debbie unconscious on the living room floor. Before she can even call 911, Mark knocks her out with a chloroform rag. Lila later wakes up with her hands tied together, and Mark tells her to stop screaming for help because no one can hear her. Mark and Julia reveal that they're still married, and since they can't conceive despite years of treatments, they'll raise Lila's baby as theirs. The way my jaw stayed shut. Although they want the baby so bad, her figuring things out means that they have to get rid of her and the baby. Luckily, before Mark can stab the sobbing Lila, who is begging him to spare her, police sirens echo in the area, forcing the couple to flee. 1 year later, Lila is a working, single mom, and Robin helps her in whatever she needs. When Robin asks about updates on Mark's case, Lila says the police say it's only a matter of time before they catch him. Meanwhile, Mark and Julia continue their scheme, with Mark now using the name John. At a restaurant, Mark's face lights up when his date says that she loves children and can't wait to have a baby someday. He has moved on from black women. He then looks at Julia, who's sitting a few tables away, looking as if they hit the jackpot, but she looking disheveled with her fried hair. There's some commentary here about them preying on black women and then moving on to another POC group, but I'll let y'all talk about that in the comments. What did you guys think of this one?
If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because YouTube isn't recommending my videos. And if you'd like to watch more foolishness, click here or here.